Have you ever walked into a room and met someone that you wanted to get to know, but you had no idea how to begin? I want to talk to you today about how to meet people and make friends. This is actually a skill, and it's a skill that you can learn. And with a few, 3 or 4 simple tips that I'm going to give you, this will carry over into your ability to speak in front of a camera, to be a good podcast guest, to host your own podcast in a really effective way. You are constantly interacting with people throughout your life, and it's a very important skill to know how to make a good first impression and then how to give your new friend the sense that you want to get to know them better, that you are open to more interaction with them. It's really important in the first interaction with people that inside your head, you have a positive perspective. What are you thinking is going to happen? Is it going to be positive or negative? Determine before you ever enter the room, enter the podcast, enter the interaction, that it's going to be great. It's going to be very fun. You need to have that in your head before you ever go in. And if your self-talk is saying the opposite, then you need to take those thoughts and throw them out the door and bring in positive thoughts. Tell yourself what you want to happen. Tell yourself it's going to be fun. Tell yourself you're excited about meeting a new person. Many different things that you can positively tell yourself. And then communicate that to your face before you enter the room. And I'm thinking also of podcast guest episodes that I have done. Before you ever enter the Zoom room, smile. Put a smile on your face. When you meet a person and you have a smile, a natural, comfortable smile on your face, they will naturally respond back with a smile. Very few people will not smile back. That's number 1. Actually, 2, if you think about your thoughts first. Positive thoughts. Number 2, smile. Number 3, have certain questions for, okay, is this the first time I'm meeting this person? Then these are the questions that I will ask. Have I met them before, but just acquaintance? These are the questions that I will ask. I've met them, talked to them, we're getting to know one another, and we feel more comfortable with one another. These are the questions that I will ask. When you learn to ask certain questions, you naturally are someone that others feel, she's really a nice person. I really like her. Why? Because people love to talk about themselves and they love somebody else asking them questions about themselves. And so you will be, oh, was it like, oh, it was wonderful. She's really wise. She's really kind. She's really nice. And you may not have said very much at all. If you are someone who this isn't coming naturally to, then these are really important tips. but they will help you, even if you are someone who is gregarious and outgoing and has no difficulty meeting people, because you might be someone who is hogging the conversation. You might be, if you're really outgoing, you might be someone who is just causing everyone else to be silent because you are taking center stage, talking, laughing, making everybody else, you're the entertainer. If that is your personality, then you need to take a step back and recognize that you can draw others out by asking questions. And that when you do that, you are, and I'm talking to you as a Christian, you are then acting more like Christ in a Christ-like manner. So, 1, we said, have a positive mindset. Tell yourself it's going to be great. 2, put a smile on your face. 3, have certain questions for whatever level of friendship, relationship you are talking with others in. I'm not going into that in this video. I'll go into that in more detail in another video. But have questions already written out, memorized. As you get more comfortable with this, you will not have to think or go, oh, what was that next question? You will automatically ask certain questions. When you meet a person for the first time, it's very natural to say hi and extend your hand to shake theirs. Hi, I'm Wendy Gunn. And they will, 9 times out of 10, say, hi, I'm John Brown. So the smile is really important too. And then if they're coming to your group where you are established, you know the way, you've been there a lot, then it's your job to show hospitality. Your job to say welcome. So glad you came. You could ask, how did you hear about us? Is this your first time here? These would be natural group or church or event. If it's something that happens routinely, then is this your first time? I don't remember meeting you is another way that you could open up. I don't remember meeting you. Is this your first time? Then how did you hear about it? That may lead into them telling you about someone that you mutually know. But otherwise, you can move on to generally known questions, facts that are generally known. What do you do for a living? Are you married? Do you have children? Those kind of questions. Do you live around here? Those are the kind of questions you can ask in your first time meeting someone. You can become comfortable meeting people, and this will help you in business for sure. So I want to encourage you that when you get out of your comfort zone and you learn certain tips, they're not hard. Learn them, practice them, and you will seem that you are a very comfortable person in meeting and relationships. And when you go into a podcast as a guest, again, same exact steps. Tell yourself it's going to be great. Put a smile on your face before you enter the room and pretty much keep smiling. If it is a podcast, do your research ahead of time. Watch or listen to several, at least one, minimum one, but 2 or 3 perhaps, of their podcast episodes. Pick up on facts about them. Maybe it'll be what part of the country you live in or the world. You'll hear their voice. Do they have an accent? You'll hear how they speak, how they interact. Do they ask a lot of questions? What kind of questions do they ask? You will have an opportunity to evaluate and get a feel for that podcast. And you will see, oh, will I be the one introducing myself, or will they introduce me? Are they humorous, jovial, or are they serious? You be you, and come in. If they're super serious, you can still be a very warm, very interrelational person. And I recommend to be a very warm guest. Your audience, their audience, will appreciate that. But don't do something that's fakey for you. Be yourself. Have your story, I call it your origin story, ready. If you're talking about your product, your service, your book, what brought you to the place of creating that? Your story, you will get so that you could tell your story in your sleep. And get better and better at telling your story. In a podcast, you may have the opportunity as you go in, as they first are asking you questions about who you are, etc. Maybe you'll want to say, well, would it be all right if I told you a little bit of my story? They will say yes. And then have a concise but very interesting story. Share something that just draws their audience in. You will want to be starting with, have you ever, something that they want. Or it might be the negative, but have you ever, you, point, soundbite. These are the steps, and you will want to have a number of sound bites that you interject into your story that they will remember. And the thing they will remember is your story. Become a good storyteller. So that is number 4 or 5. Think positively before you go in. Smile. Have questions ready for the level of the relationship. And then have your story ready to tell with sound bites. Not super long, and be talking at a rate that's comfortable to listen to. I have been talking a little bit more succinctly, more in a teaching tone, and not as fast as I would normally talk in a conversation with another person. So be aware and speed up and slow down and modulate your voice. You can talk in a higher tone and you can talk in a lower tone. You can laugh in at the end of a sentence. Whatever you're comfortable with. Be a pleasant guest. I'm Wendy Gunn, and I'm going to share more with you about how to meet people and more about making friends.